Eh,
Why? Oh,
pass.
so what was the latest issue, if there's anything?
I mean, past card was just 5-2, and now I'm 2-4. I haven't finished this one. I'm like, oh god.
Uh-huh.
I was 2-0, and now it's 4 losses in a row. So I'm like, I gotta take 10.
That's okay. As long as your main focus been on improving on something, you have right goals, I think everything should be fine. GM is inevitable.
God, I hope. I'm trying to get it at least this season. I'm like right there. It's taunting me.
Okay, what have you been working on so far? What have you been focusing on?
uh, so a lot of games, I felt like Ryan just can't work. I'll be honest. Oh, I'm sure he can because you make him work, but it's been
Yeah.
really tough.
Right.
So I've been on Sigma and Winston a lot more. When I do want to go brawl, I've gone Ramatra, and that's worked pretty well. Like
Sure.
basically all of today, if like Reinhardt just doesn't work, I gone Ramatra, and like the little bit of poke, especially against Roadhog, has been helpful.
Okay.
um,
How do you like
but it's been
the
rough.
new hog change?
When we have an Ana, it's good. I tried him out just like in quick play like twice. I haven't been
Mm.
playing a lot of quick play like we went over. Like I do like a warm up session or whatever, and I played like one or two extras like on Friday just to try out new hog, and he's fun. I like him. I wouldn't play him more than that,
For
but
sure.
yeah,
I think he's
yeah.
well, he's kind of, if you add a little bit extra to his second ability, with the one where he's throwing the trap, might be
Yeah.
interesting to play with that, because now it's just more you hold certain angle and this trap kind of helps you, but we'll see what they're gonna do.
hmm
Okay.
Like
So
having an Ana on my team definitely makes it fun to fight because Jesus Christ,
yeah,
he can
exactly.
survive with the take a breather change now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we've been playing Rematro, Winston Sigma. What about the latest stuff? The motivation, the thought model, anything related to that? Did you look? What
Uh,
you look to apply? Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the most part, it's been like the thought model, especially like I want to get better, so I'm gonna, discipline myself
Yeah.
a little bit more to play ranked, and I have been. I mean, I did shoot up 2 ranks in a week, so that was pretty nice.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, what do you think helped you the most? What kind of thoughts you've been using, maybe, like, or yeah, just what do you think you found the most helpful out of it?
uh, I think, I think as harsh as it is, it was like I don't get anything out of quick play at the end of the day.
True, true.
Like I mean, some quick play games get like sweaty, I suppose, and like the teams are fairly even and it's
Mm-hmm.
like a good game. But at the end of the day, I can feel myself being like, it's whatever, it's quick play, so I don't put my all into it. But like every comp game, I've been trying to put my all into it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been good. It has
Did you
been good.
did you try to differentiate between quality practice versus just playing on a quick play, or you just stopped playing quick play?
Uh, in all honesty, it hasn't really been practicing on quick play. It's just like if when I get home, I'll play like one quick play game just to warm up my hands,
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I haven't differentiated it very well, if I can be completely honest.
Well, when we were talking about quality practice versus just playing, it's kind of what we meant. It's your quick play, you're playing with friends, right? You just having
Mhm.
fun on other roles. And quality practice is where you actually investing time in the heroes you want to improve. Well, if it's tank, it should be tank for the most part. And playing competitive, that's what we meant, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's is that something you tried then? Yeah, like differentiating between comp and quick play playing with friends, or is just yeah? How is
Yeah,
that for you?
I've differentiated that. In all honesty, when I'm just playing now, I'll just like duo with my friend who's a little bit lower, and I'll,
Mm-hmm.
just playing will be like on support.
Mm-hmm.
Christine, the food's here.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had to tell my girl something. Yeah, I said that.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry. Turn on my girl again. But yeah, just like support him on ranked, or it'll just be quick play with a bunch of people. But a lot of people haven't been on, so I've been able to focus more on like just practicing,
Yeah,
especially this week.
yeah. As long as you're disciplined, you have dedicated time to where you exactly practice and having fun, it should be okay. Definitely see how long you can stay focused, because there might be a problem, especially if you get into GM. There might be a problem that you might practice too much. There might be too much quality of practice, so you might burn out. So be careful. You want to invest reasonable amount of time. You just sort of speak.
Yeah, I will say. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No,
like
it's
today,
okay.
I definitely feel a burnout right now.
Right. That's where you want to recognize it. You want to see what you can do about that. Maybe take a break, or maybe you recognize there's like a pattern. You notice that after playing 3 hours straight, you get the burnout. What you can do about that? Well, you can decrease the time a little bit, maybe taking breaks between the matches, so you reset your mindset. It might be something else as well. Whatever helps you to keep your focus. Even just drinking water, simply, it actually influences your mentality. If you just playing without any water at all, it's might be complicated. It just as an example, yeah, all those small things, they add up, and eventually it might influence the outcome. Okay. Okay, but yeah, so you've been focusing on that. Okay, using SWOT model, that's been helpful. What about self? What are you?
I didn't get a chance to. Been a little bit busy, especially near the end of the week when I had planned to do the self VOD review. So I didn't get a chance to review my own VODs, at least this week.
That's
And I
okay.
was going to today, but I was like, man, I can get to GM. So I hopped in and I stayed in Masters 1, like on one rotation, and like I did this rotation just now, and I'm like not doing very well. So I'm like, all right, let me slow it down, take a break.
Right. Definitely. Being disciplined, even with breaks, yeah, with when you just having fun, relaxing, yeah, doing all of that is important. If you disciplined, you're not just spending time playing the game 24/7 and getting exhausted and then losing the rank. Yeah, you just being reasonable with the things to do. Okay. Well, what do you want to do today? Then, what do you want to focus on?
I do have a loss that I feel like shouldn't have been a loss.
Okay.
So,
what is the hero? What have you been looking to play?
let me see. Oh, I have the replay right here. It's the Antarctic Peninsula. I had gone Winston this game, and to be honest, my Winston hasn't been that bad. I have an Umbani game as well that was a little bit more annoying that we lost. That I also thought I played well.
Yeah, as you
That was
wish,
like an
as you
hour
wish.
ago.
We can focus on whatever you like. Can be Winston, can be Sick, can be Ramatra. Want to start with the Winston?
I think they were both Winston.
Sure.
I think one part of Numbani I went Ramatra. That's because they swapped to JQ, and I quite like Ramatra versus JQ.
Okay.
Let me just pull up the Antarctic Peninsula one though. Okay.
Okay, so we just do what are you today. There's nothing else. Everything, other aspects, mentality wise, maybe anything else. Everything is like clear so far. Yeah.
I think I've been okay mentality wise. Just like, to be honest, I haven't since I've been in high school when I played on console back in the day. That like playing this many comp games like in a row. That's what I used to do because I used to be able to go to school later when I was in high school, and I could just bang out games in the morning before I left, and then come back play some more. And I wasn't like super tired because it was high school.
Okay. Let me just screen share. I'm screen sharing. So it's Antarctic. Okay. What do you want to start with? Antarctic one, or you mentioned Numbani?
Antarctic Peninsula.
Antarctic, okay.
I do know that this game started off with a DC, which was very exciting, but what can you do, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, what kind of questions you have about this map? What was problematic, maybe? What do you think you could have done better? Stuff like that.
I'm not sure, but it was last point especially because this went 2-1. Last point especially, it feels like we just couldn't close out the fights, and we couldn't keep the objective.
So the question is how you close up the fight, right? What do you do to achieve that for at least the last part, the third point? Yeah.
It was a little bit of both, like opening up the fight and also closing out the fight. The mid fight has been okay, especially with Winston. I tend to find myself surviving with Winston pretty well when I'm like focused. So it was this first fight, like I feel like it could have went either way, but then we had the DC, which was unfortunate. Since a lot of people have been playing Hog, I've gotten better at the matchup, just kind of leaving him to his devices a little bit and going after targets that I can actually make an impact on instead of zapping Hog, who can heal all of my damage in 10 seconds. Not even in.
So target priority. That is something what can we focus on as well. Okay. Is there anything else, or that's it?
From what I remember, that's how most of this game went. Because second point went really well, but you shall see.
So we're looking at this entire review, I think, so we can spot any issues, right?
Probably first and third. I think second went like really smooth.
Okay. So what's your main idea here? With this composition you have, what are you looking for? Why do we pick Winston in the first place? Maybe let's start with that.
Whenever I get on this map, it feels very deathmatchy, and back in the day, I would go Junker Queen on this map, but since I've kind of knocked her out of my hero pool a little bit, trying to get better at the other characters, I decided on the Winston. That, and I also don't know the areas by heart, so at least by their names. So I was like, Winston's kind of good all around.
Okay.
And we had Genji.
Reasonable. Yeah.
I didn't like the support comps with my other characters.
Okay.
We had like Mercy, Moira, Genji, so I was like, I can go Winston into this.
Yep, I think this is fine. By looking at your composition and the enemy composition, how do you guys win? What are you looking to do? What do you think?
Well, for me personally, or for all of us?
Yeah, I think if you just look at the composition, kind of simplifying it, making sure, just understanding your win condition, sort of. Yeah, what is that about?
I mean, since we don't have Ana, Hog can't really die easily. Lucio's kind of slippery for me to get, or for most of us to get, really.
Right.
So, getting like Cass or Junkrat isolated, because Moira, I personally think Moira is not that great.
Okay.
I think Coalescence is good on her, but I think that's about it.
Okay.
I think the other supports do things better, except she can escape a lot, so I wouldn't jump her.
Okay.
So catching a DPS out, my bubble can block off the healing they would get. Not even like Lucio doesn't even do enough healing to them anyway.
Sure. Catching off isolated targets, and I also think, let's just kind of focus on this way. Whenever you're looking at two compositions, so it's kind of simple for you. Whenever you have a question, how do you win? I usually like to answer those two questions. Well, that is something you can start with, kind of. It's just basic understanding of what is our range and how do we set up. So if we're looking at the range of your composition and the range of the enemy, we're just trying to compare and see who is playing long range and who is playing a little bit towards the short range. Yeah, obviously it's not just straightforward you always play long range as Winston. Doesn't mean that you always poke from far. No, eventually you're gonna close the gap, but it's just understanding what is your team, what are they more about? Who is more pokey, who is kind of want to play for the longer fight, and who is leaning towards the short range, towards the brawl, kind of. What do you think? Your composition like to play? Let's start with that.
Probably a little bit close to mid. Bastion being the mid range, but everyone else can, or I guess Bastion and Mercy.
Compare heroes on your team and the enemy. Who is stronger at poke?
I think them.
Why is that the case?
Roadhog hook is pretty lethal. Junkrat spam into anywhere can be, unfortunately deadly. And then Cass is pretty good at mid range.
Okay. So if they're stronger at poke, we were saying that. I would actually say this is kind of the situation where their composition is kind of interesting. Well, they have some brawl members as well. They have the speed boost, but overall, I think you're slightly stronger. Yeah, it seems like with the short range, you should be more comfortable. Even though you have pretty strong poke around Bastion, it's still not the main thing. Yeah, so I think you're right. You're playing short range mostly. And the second question is, how do you set up? And it's just about understanding, do you play towards more stacked playstyle? That's how I like to describe it. Yeah. Or towards more taking angles. So it's kind of, you mentioned this kind of sliding scale, stacked to angles. Depending on the composition, you might lean towards either playing more grouped or towards playing angles. It doesn't mean that if you play stacked, nobody can take angles. It's still possible. And it also goes other way around. If you guys taking angles, there might be a point of time where you play close to each other. But we just gotta understand what your composition is more about. Who is gonna benefit from taking angles, you think? Your composition or the enemy? Like, let's just say, who is more... Yeah, what kind of composition is more beneficial if they benefit more from taking angles? Yeah, let's say that.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Look at the resources. What kind of resources you have, what kind of resources they have. How do they pressure? How do you pressure? And then think about that.
This is one of those things I don't understand about the game, I suppose.
Yeah,
like
we can break this down. Yeah, we can break this down a little. Okay. So what do you think? If you look at the enemy composition, what kind of resources they have to pressure your team? Kind of, what are the most lethal things, maybe, to start with?
Hook.
Yeah.
Speed boosting into us, I suppose, with like Junkrat, but I don't really know how great that is.
That can work to some extent. Yeah. You know what I think, actually, with the new Hog rework, too, I would actually say that you might not necessarily be stronger at the short range, actually, against them, because, well, it depends. This one is a little bit... this one is interesting. If I think about that, they have the Lucio, just depends on the map as well. Well, to me, it's kind of, it feels like you're a little bit similar. You might be slightly stronger because all of the burst abilities is just the enemy team. They have a little bit more sustain compared to you guys. You sort of dive in, get out, dive in, get out. They can stay at the short range a little bit longer because of all this healing, because of all this, well, Hawk healing, for example, the speed boost, amp, stuff like that. Well, more healing as well, but you do have it as too, so it's kind of similar, but it's just you more bursty, you more should apply more strict pressure. It should be really fast, and then you need to get out eventually. So you guys, because you need to be more bursty, and that's usually the case with whenever you play dive composition. You need to be really synchronized. You need to jump in together. You need to dive in together. So you can provide a lot of value. That means a lot of times you benefit from taking angles more. You send somebody on the flank like a Trace, you send somebody like a Genji on the other angle, and then you can take another angle. And this way, you can split enemy resources and also make it easy for you guys to pressure an enemy team. So it's just multiple directions where you can come from. Maybe somebody comes from here, somebody comes from here and there, and then because the attention is split, you might force out more stuff. And their resources, they have something like Lucio, they have something like Junkrat, they have something like Cassidy. Their resources, you cannot really take advantage out of ability as much compared to you guys. So I don't think they benefit out of taking angles that much. You just need to understand they're probably gonna be leaning towards more stacked playstyle, Lucios. Again, we're just looking at the cooldowns. We're just looking at the whatever they have, like Lucio speed boost. Yeah, like speed boost. They have Moira healing. So it's just Moira support. They have Cassidy nade. They have something like Hog, Prussian Hook. And you guys, you have long range Bastion, Genji, you, Mercy, and Moira. You guys ultimately can just go in and get out. Go in and get out. And that's how you view it, I guess. You just look at the whatever helps you to apply pressure and whatever helps the enemy to apply pressure, and see what are you leaning towards. What is your range? What is your... How do you take angles? And that's it. I don't know, like we can get more examples actually with other points. We'll talk about that more. But here...
I was gonna say, I actually think I do understand it a little bit more because something like this happened on... I didn't think about it mid-game, but on Numbani first point, I had dove on the high ground. I basically got blown up,
Right.
but the Tracer was still setting up. And then she was the only one in voice chat, and we were, she was like,
Right.
"Oh, well, I'm set up now, so you can do the same thing, and we'll go in at the same time." And I didn't think about it at the time, but that push worked fantastically.
Yeah, exactly. So again, simplifying it, we playing short range while taking angles. That's really important. So you benefit your team, and you benefit out of the dives more, and you split the enemy attention easily. Preferably you go after isolated targets. If not, if they're all stacked together still, you trying, because you are taking angles, you're actually able to split them up. If they're stacked, there's no way you can split them. That's why it's the part about you guys just not actually being in the same spot. It's really important. So I'm interested in your position as Winston then at this point. Where we should be. What do you think is the effective position for you to start with? So it seems like a Genji's taking an angle on the left. You start here, but is that the most effective, or should it be anywhere else? What do you think?
I thought it was okay because I'm just trying to scout out where the Hog was.
Right.
I didn't want to get bursted down instantly, and then when I saw him, I was like, "Oh, okay, I can move more toward that side," and I knew I had shield, and I saw like the Mercy coming back, and I was like, "Oh, okay," because she was talking.
Right. Okay. When is the best time for you to dive in?
When I have more resources, probably before I lose my armor.
Okay, that is the first perspective. Yeah, that is the first perspective. We need more resources. your own resources, and the second is making sure you have your team resources. What do you expect from your team? What needs to happen before you dive in? Who should be able to pressure with you?
A DPS.
DPS,
Or
yeah.
one or the other. I mean, I don't know. Probably, preferably both. Probably.
Yeah,
but...
preferably both. Yeah, so ultimately, your angles should be set up. Your angles should be able to apply pressure. Genji from one side, Bastion from another, and you might be able not necessarily pressure from the same side with them. You might be creative. You might get around, but yeah, this is the time. When your angles are ready, you should go. And your resources should be ready as well. And so I have this problem, 2 problems here then. Only one angle can contribute. Actually, this is a little bit complicated for the Bastion still. But
yeah, I saw him go turret form, so I thought he'd be able to follow up with me here, and that's why I jumped.
Yeah.
Regardless of not having armor, but I should probably have waited a little bit.
Yeah, it's more about the decisions before, I think, right? So only one angle can contribute, but it's kind of working. Yeah, I think this is like okay-ish, but your resources are not there. So anything we could have done with our positioning to have more resources, potentially. What do you think?
I'm not entirely sure. Probably scout a little bit more so I can see where the Bastion is. Maybe take the angle around the cover on the far right. Because there's a health pack in there. If I lose too much, then the supports don't have to like run after me. And I'll still have the cover in case like they try and turn to me. And Genji's still on the left.
Yes. You might do that, I think. You might do that, going on the right. The only concern I have, you cannot use your mobility as much because it's kind of enclosed space. Well, might be possible, but it's just complicated to me. Usually, you choose this rotation with more short-range characters like Ryan, Ramatra, maybe if it's needed, of course, if you don't want to take too much poke. Remember, they win by poking you guys a little bit more, I think, yeah. But you win by closing the gap. So find the spaces where they can poke you. Right side can be okay, but mobility, yeah, I don't think you can use that. So what can be the solution? Anywhere else? If you're here, we're getting blown up at the start as well. You're getting pressured at the start too much, taking too much poke, maybe. And then, especially if you walk, yeah, let's just say you walk from A corner to B, you walk through the open, you take too much poke from here, from there. So what can be the solution? We cannot use the right side as well, maybe. So what do you think?
I guess I could go to the left side too if, you know, just it's a little bit more covered going in, and then I'll have... I feel like I can see more from there.
Right.
And I can use my mobility more freely.
Yeah. I think something like that can be good. So it's kind of, you go from corner A to corner B1 here, might be possible. Or you can also use this or wait it out and then going after. So you're using cover maybe around here, for example, and then going later when you have your angle set up. Remember, you sometimes don't have to take space to actively. Sometimes you can just let the enemy team to walk into your angles depending on the map. So might be possible here. I think you still have this potential to take some space, though. It's okay if you use the corners properly. It's just a little bit complicated because it's a little bit too openish, but yeah, you can definitely try it. Because here would take too much poke. Yeah, there's just too much. It's more of like rotation, which you would take with Ryan, maybe. Yeah. And that's why when we dive in, it's complicated for your team to contribute. Well, one of your angle, they almost got enough value, but the second one was a little bit late.
Just wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, and by the way, this part which you mentioned about the angles, it's actually connected to your setup too, because you know all of that. Suddenly, you're not going to be stacked with one of your angles. You can't be somewhere else, I think. And this would allow Mercy to fly between multiple groups. That would allow the Genji and Bastion to have good pressure as well, because the attention is split between you and your teammates. You don't have to be exactly stacked with them as much. Moira complicates things a little. Yeah, you can't really go too much flanky-ish, it seems, but, you know, Still,
Mhm.
you don't have to be stacked on the same side. Okay, let's keep going. So we kind of doing use the bubble. So you have to reset at this point. You have to wait
Yeah.
it out. They playing kind of stacked, as you mentioned. You want to find value. If somebody's isolated, you found the Cassidy. I think was okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all right. And then you
I waited for bubble because I was like, oh, the hook's gonna.
exactly, yeah, exactly. And your angles actually got value too. See the Genji,
Mhm.
the Bastion was shooting too. I think was pretty decent. Maybe if you have time, sometimes you can invest more time in setup, but yeah, it's okay. Using corners, jumping on the Moira. Mm-hmm. Ideally, just a little bit of micro because you're looking to
Mhm.
split the enemy resources. You're looking to either with your setup make sure they push you, so they split the attention, they split themselves from everybody from being stacked. Yeah, you're making them weaker, but you also, even when you're jumping on them, you're trying to make sure somebody is isolated more, and your bubble is one of these resources which can help to isolate somebody for a short period of time. So
Mhm.
if you're jumping in the Moira, if you're looking to isolate the Moira, then what do you think is the better jump here? Where we should end up? See where we are.
Um.
Yeah, we ending up at the corner. She's not isolated. She still might get
Uh,
support from Lucio's healing, for example. He can come in a second.
mhm.
So, what do you think?
Uh. I'm thinking maybe jumping a little bit past that wall so I can use the natural cover and not have to use my bubble. And then if they try and come in and
Hmm.
converge on me, I can just throw the bubble down.
This can actually work. The only thing is
Yeah, team was a little behind
Yeah.
because I jumped.
But this can actually work if your team is behind, because our idea when we're using the bubble is the main resource which allows your angles to be aggressive. I actually think it can work. If you play it slow, you jump to cover, and then once your angles are ready, you can jump in later.
I
Okay.
will admit I do have somewhat of a timing problem. That's something I can realize that just even mid game, but then I don't know how to fix it.
How do you fix it?
Timing.
What do you think you can do to fix it?
I mean, just scouting a little
Yeah.
bit more
Yeah.
so I can see when my team is ready to
Exactly.
go.
Exactly.
Like I brought up that Numbani game, but I think part of that went into I used to play with like a full stack like all the time, even in
Mm-hmm.
comp, and we were always in communication, and that was like for almost all of Overwatch 1, at least when I played. So it was like I always had voice, and I think that's what did it
Yep.
a lot. So it's a bit of a change because I stopped late in Overwatch 1, and then when Overwatch 2 came out, I kept playing it, but not my friends weren't as into it as they were before, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
uh,
Exactly.
it's a bit of a learning curve that I have to identify by the whole game rather than just what people are telling me, because a lot of the times people just aren't in VC.
Exactly. So rather than anticipating them being ready, you wanna look around and see if they're ready. We're
Hmm.
not expecting, we seeing if they're ready or not. If they are not ready, then you know that your next decision gonna be still jumping, but maybe you make this decision to end up behind the wall, or maybe not jump at all. So it's
Just be a little bit more patient.
exactly, yeah. We just making sure most of your team is ready. They're able to do stuff. But let's say they're ready currently. Let's say your angles, for some reason, they have good line of sight. They're ready to go in. Then where you can end up.
Hmm. I'm not sure because I did end up, right in front of the Roadhog, and that is not good.
Well, you have the
I'm
bubble,
not
sort of.
entirely sure.
Again, our idea is to isolate the enemy. How do you isolate somebody with the Winston?
I want to say jumping, kind of not really on them, but I don't want to say in between, but kind of just
Yeah.
like physically splitting them up, not like exactly
Yeah,
like smack
yeah,
dab in the middle of
yeah.
all of them, but like you know what I mean.
Yeah, this is yeah, but this is correct. You jumping between certain groups and kind of splitting them up a little. You see, because they should be acting more like a big circle. You're trying to split the circle on 2 or maybe 3 groups even, with your position, with your pressure, and all of that. So you might just jump somewhere in front of the warrior, so it's harder for her. She will have to use something to actually get out, or if she will stay here, she will die, because you isolate her with the bubble. You making it that hard for her to receive that as a support. It might be from Hog with the hook, it might be from Lucio with the healing. Yeah, you're just splitting them up. If your angles are ready, of course. If your angles are really able to commit. But I think the best play is you play slow, jump first, kind of look to setup. Your first jump is usually setup jump, and then the next jump after can be engagement. Obviously, one can go into another sometimes. You can jump, kind of pretend to you setting up, but later you can turn out that you can engage after. But yeah, usually slowing it down. Set up first, engage after, set up first, engage after, but scout before. Scout if your team can do something before. So it's like not bad, but yeah, it's just unfortunately the timing is not there. If you know your team's not ready, yeah, then you know you gotta invest more time into setup. Okay, you switch to Sigma though. Do we skip the Sigma? I guess.
No,
Yeah.
I'd say keep it.
Keep
I'll
it.
be honest. I'll be honest. Sigma is a character I feel like I need to be better at. I think he's out of my entire hero pool. Winston I have like fundamental struggles with, but Sigma is like I like him too much, and he's just really inconsistent for me. But he's kind of strong right now, huh?
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of resources that get dumped into the solo tank, and Sigma kind of just deals with that sometimes.
You change your hero. You have the second support change as well. How situation changes. Look at this from range and setup perspective. Who likes to play short range? Who likes to play long range now? And who likes to take angles?
I think here our poke is better now.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Bastion, Sigma. We have Ana for the Hog too, so the Hog really has to play a little bit more patient. I don't remember if this game was VC or not. Like, I don't, so I don't know exactly what my. Actually, it was at least the Mercy, but I don't remember if the Ana was. So, I mean, I kind of like the Sigma more for this, just because I was like, man, Hog's gonna kick my ass because I was just, not doing as well.
Okay. Okay. So the part about a long range, it's pretty accurate. Okay. Who likes to take angles? You gonna take more angles or the enemy team?
I feel like, I almost want to say we still take angles just because of Genji, but I think right here the Genji DCs, so.
Yeah, doesn't matter. You look at the comp. Comp gives you an idea what you're doing after. You have Ana, you have Sig. They still have all the same resources. They probably lean towards a more stacked approach. Somebody can take angle on their team, obviously. Might be that their Hog takes an angle. Might be that their Cassidy takes an angle sometimes. Especially if they do have Storm Ultimate as well. But yeah, you definitely lean towards taking angles. Okay. That's what we want to look at. How do you do that? Where do you move? How do you control the map? How do you poke? Yeah, you gotta be more patient. By the way, that's exactly the point where you see Hog actually looking to flank. It might happen because he's more self-sufficient. He has decent burst as well. He can exist on the flank sometimes, but you guys should be winning the poke war. So eventually just south poke the enemy, kind of pressure them out. Well, again,
I miss a lot of rocks. It's quite embarrassing. Especially that.
Yeah, I think we skipped this part because the Genji is not there. It's just less chances to win it, probably.
which
Okay.
I thought we could have won it if we had Genji at that point. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
definitely. This is the fight when you get him back, though. Block the hook.
Mhm.
This is nice. Looking to touch. Going for Sigil, sure. Okay, that's okay.
It's just because I kind of panicked 99.
Mm-hmm.
I know we want to touch, so I was like, I should ult, so my team can
That's
not have to deal with whoever I get in it at least.
reasonable. Yeah, that's reasonable. Mm-hmm. Okay, now that's when the proper fight starts. Okay. You guys winning by poking the enemy more. Mm-hmm.
hmm
So what you should be doing right at the start?
I mean, kind of setting up. I wouldn't call it a bunker, but like seeing where they're
Mm.
coming from and kind of just trying to shoot down range a little bit, get their health low.
Yeah. You should be shooting right away. You should be shooting
hmm
right here. You should be even walking up a little and just bursting them down consistently, shooting them so they have to waste Moira heals,
Okay.
they have to waste Hulk heals, they have to waste Lucius Amp. And once you about to take the real fight, that's when the brawl phase happens. When most of your members can do stuff, most of their members,
Mhm.
most likely they're able to do stuff as well. It's most likely gonna happen around the point. You need to have angles, so it's not just you bunker up. You need to have different angles of pressure. But before the poke phase, you might spend just poking them down. Obviously, make sure you have most of your resources ready when the real fight starts. You don't want to waste your shield, you don't want to waste your shift, but here, why not walking up just extra meter, or maybe even here, I think you're still able to poke. You know? You're still able to shoot in general direction.
Okay.
So that's
That's one of those. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't mean
no,
to
it's
cut you
okay.
off. I was just saying that's one of those thoughts I have more when I'm Reinhardt, I guess, because Reinhardt's my best. I feel like I'm most in it when I play him.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like Sigma shield. People can keep that up forever, and then I'm just not good at managing his shield. I'm okay with doing like I'm okay with Reinhardt. I've been way better at it managing his shield, and
Yes.
even Winston bubble to an extent. But when it comes to Sigma, especially in the Ditto, I feel like I'll play against him, and the other Sigma like manages all his cooldowns so well. He won't even use kinetic grasp. He'll be at full health like the whole game. Might just be my aim too. I'm not gonna be on. I'm gonna not gonna lie that I could have better like the rocks overall and you know hitting my shots a little bit better. But sometimes it feels like I'll end up at half health after blocking like a bunch of cooldowns and stuff, and the other Sig will still be like at full. He's the only like one I can see. I don't know how the rest of the team is doing for the most part. Maybe it's just a positioning error or error.
Remember how we mentioned with the Winston that most of your resources, your bubble, your armor, you should trade those resources when you have your angle set up, right?
Mhm.
Because that's the nature of your composition. Now, I want you to see when you use most of your resources. Are those actually useful? So we already used the shift. We have the
I'm at
shield
like,
here. And
and
this
I'm
is
at
when
like
you have
full
most
health.
of your resources are down already.
hmm
Okay. So when you should be using those exactly? What would be probably the point of time? When do you expect to trade most of your resources?
Probably when it's not as super long range pokey, because I feel I don't know if I should be
Let's just
like
say
I guess face tanking is the word, and then when like they're a little bit more in my I guess kill zone, if that makes sense, just
exactly.
using my resources.
Where's your kill zone?
hmm
Where
I'd
is
say
that now?
if I was moved up a little bit, Cass would be there, so kind of like the bridge there,
Yeah, kind of.
like right before like the snow
Yeah.
starts,
So
and
once
then
the enemies are in, because you have your angle set up, you should trade your resources. Now, it's
Mhm.
not the case. Nobody is in your kill zone. Your resources are down. That's a mistake. Yep. So we need to just make sure those resources are useful. We still can use some of those. We still can use some of those in the poke phase. Even what I described before, why not to walk, just shoot somebody. Yeah, it's okay. But the problem is when they actually start walking, we don't have anything. When they start walking towards your angles, you have the hog walking, you have this Lucio walking, and Cassidy walking as well. Even this rock right there. Do you have your angles set up and be ready to punish this Cassidy? No. So the idea is it's either your team can contribute to get a kill, or sometimes, especially with your rock, you use that if you can get that solo kill on somebody. If you're confident, sure, you could go for it. If not, then you need your angle set up. You just need your team be able to contribute. That's the part about the scouting. So that is when most of your resources would be useful. This hog right there, rock, shield, Sigma shift. I think you get your shift back, but your shield is down, and you don't have the rock. Yep. So it's gonna be complicated. It's really dangerous now. You can shut down the hook, you can shut down this, but they enter in your space, they enter in your angles, right? Okay. So making sure you have the angle set up, and then doing stuff. Yeah, this fight to me, like, it's still, well, it still can be winnable. But yeah, complicated. This is better though. Like, what are you doing after? See, there's somebody who walked into your angles. You have your angle set up on the hog. Obviously, he's slapped, but you punish him even more. You have good sightlines on him, so it's okay. This rock is good, and then you might maybe use your shield to block some of the stuff. Yeah, you guys surviving. Yeah, this is nice. It could be different story. If the enemy is they played better, could be different.
Yeah.
You have most of your resources down. It's really complicated. Remember, same as the Rhine. Yeah, you save most of your shield for when the real pressure happens. Yeah? If you raise your shield before, it's not as useful.
I miss a lot of shit, so that definitely contributes. So I'm not gonna lie about that.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of, even if you miss something, it should create some sort of pressure, and because you create that pressure, your team able to contribute on that. Yeah, if you're doing this rock here, well, are you able to get a solo kill, or can your team really contribute on that pressure? One of those. What do you think?
I felt like I could get the solo kill here. So if I landed the rock.
this rock is okay, yeah. So this rock is good. The attempt to go for this rock is fine. You can definitely get this solo kill, I think, and then it's just all about doing it more and more. If you cannot get a solo kill, and then making sure most of your team is there to contribute, it's beneficial. Well, this is the last
That was
fight.
a fat tire, and we were,
Yeah. Okay, so far, some of the things about the Winston timing, Sig, you need to poke more before the fight, and what else? Most of your resources, yeah, most of your resources should be contributed to that exact point when you have your angles. When you have your angles set up, that's the good idea. There, when you have angles. Okay. Winston, okay. So we skipped this. We skipped the second point, right? We watched the third one.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at it briefly, sure, but overall, this second point went kind of smooth. Even I thought it'd be worse with pharmacy and stuff.
But see, you have the same kind of. So this is the same situation. You guys playing these, yeah, that same previous composition. They switched. They switched some of the members. So what do you think? Who benefits out of taking angles more? Who benefits out of short range, long range, this sort of stuff? What's your thoughts?
Oh, sorry. My girlfriend was telling me about laundry. Can you? The last bit I missed.
The last what?
The last bit I missed.
Oh yeah, I just asked the question. What about the range? At what range you guys should be playing, and how do you take angles?
I think either me or the Bastion should be kind of where the Winston is right now, because he's kind of set up in a good spot that they can Winston can jump on whoever when I go in, and then they have the cast in the middle, and then I don't know where the Pharah is, but she can, she's got long range poke, so she can they're kind of better than us at poking here.
Right. So we should be using more short range spaces to avoid the poke. Yeah? Same idea as before. You had shorter range composition. You don't want to get poked. So you don't want to be out in the open. But I don't think it's even just composition dependent. You don't have to know their composition. At this point, you just know that you play your character. You want to be comfortable at closing the gap. You want to be really having most of your resources. So that means you need to choose the position which allows you to do so. So what do you think? Where you should be going to? Yeah, like you mentioned, this space, yeah? This space could be better, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
I can use my mobility freely there too, since it's outside. And
yeah, I agree totally. And you cannot get poked as much. Like here, you have the same thing. You just get poked from Pharah, and then you get poked by Cassidy, and by the time you actually reach the target, you lose most of your armor. So it's even going all the way around can work sometimes if you really need. Watch the enemy Winston. His armor and your armor. Yeah, he just has more resources, and he also using the jump. He has the jump now, so they ultimately have the advantage. Now, obviously, if you trade the cooldowns, other cooldowns better, it can work. Yeah, like this Winston jump now, it's not the smartest thing to do in the truth form, obviously.
Yeah. Normally, I'm on the receiving end of that.
Okay. Oh, that seems okay. We got value out of the turret form. And they switched up a little. Do you play here? This is a good space to play, I think. You can't get poked as much. You benefit out of taking this extra angle. Going from behind.
I just saw my armor was kind of low, so I wanted to regroup back with my team here. Then just protecting the Mercy for the most part was the decision here. I remember this, at least. Don't know if it was right or wrong. This is my thought process.
This is alright. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I can end up behind the cover a little bit more, so you don't have to use the bubble there. Okay. Well, we regroup at this point. They switched up their comm, so it's the same thing. You guys need to take angles, and you want to close the gap eventually. You need to play shorter range sidelines. If you play long fight, they should benefit out of it more, especially with Zarya, I think. Because she can gain some charge over time. I think you should be quicker. You should take short fights, take angles. So, okay. With having the Cassidy, what's important? Do we have angles? Can you get a solo kill? So before this dive, make sure this is happening. Now, see?
And my team wasn't ready.
But outside, yeah. Like if you use that. No, I think, or maybe a second later could be good, because of your dive, your Moira and Mercy had to pop ult to save you. You have to be careful. It still might work, if you have this planned, all of this, but it can be more beneficial if you watch your angles, you look around. You can be patient, pretty much, with the Winston. Take your time, maybe set up and invest this extra jump. Okay, you guys still rolling them. And you found this isolated target. Just be careful with overcommitting. You can set up for the next fight.
Just probably because I didn't want to die.
Okay.
I will say I'm not good at primal juggles, like at all.
That's fine. It's just, again, the same thing. When we're doing something, and most of your angles contribute, or can you get a solo kill? Well, here you use it more like to get out. I think you wanted to get a kill on this Moira because you saw that she was low, so it's kind of reasonable.
And then I missed 2 melees.
Yeah, well, that's okay. You kind of committed to get the kill, and then after, just watch if your team is able to get value. Make it easier for them to get value. With your juggles, you're pushing an enemy into your angles, so it's easier for you to trade resources. If Moira stays in your team's sidelines consistently, you might force out Fate, you might force out something else, and then it's gonna be easier. Yeah, so you should be booping Moira towards where? If you go
Toward my team.
Yeah, towards your team slightly, I think. And
So
remember,
oh, sorry. When I use Primal, most of the time I'll just hold left click. Should I just be a little bit more patient until where I want to, like where I'm positioned to knock them
Same
wherever?
thing with anything. If you want to get better at something, you want to start as being slow and good rather than being fast and bad. You know how a lot of people, they see Necros being fast and they try to copy Necros being fast, but then they...
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly describes it.
No, I mean, this is like analogy, but it applies to any sport. You learning basketball, learning football, doesn't matter. You start being slow with techniques, and then eventually you build up the speed. That's all. It's much better if you approach it this way. So we don't have to hold primary fire every time. Just jump. Make sure your punch is gonna be accurate. The more you do it, the faster you're gonna be with the punch. The better you're gonna be recognizing it when you punch. So you're actually gonna be investing your working memory into that. Yeah, it's gonna take time, but it's better. And then even just one punch can be better than 3 bad punches here towards the Moira, yeah? One good punch towards your team. Remember, you guys playing short range, short end composition as well. Well, you sort of win by closing the gap, so it's better. You help your Genji to dash somebody, you help your maybe even Moira to apply some of the pressure, because you boop targets in a little and not out. You can boop somebody out, sort of, if you know you can get a kill. Again, same thing. Get a kill. If you know that can happen, go for that. But if not, then make sure most of your team is able to contribute, make it possible. Yeah, with the dive. So like this bubble is like okay, yeah, most of your team is kind of ready. All this pressure is alright. Okay. Okay. Do you have any questions so far?
No, everything so far is fairly straightforward. I think I've asked my questions kind of when it came to this. So this point does not go smooth at all. Like they go Reaper, but I find myself being okay against Reaper. Like he's not the problem when I play Winston. Sure, he's like chasing me and being Reaper. But for the most part, I swap off Winston if like it's Reaper and someone else. You know what I mean? Like if it's Reaper and Bastion, like I'll swap. Or if it's Reaper and a support that deals with me really easily, like Kiriko or something, like quick cleanse and full health, or Baptiste or whatever, then I'll swap. But when there's like one counter, I find myself able to work around it better.
Okay, how do you approach this again? What range you guys gonna be playing? What angles you gonna be taking?
I think we have the advantage in the poke here now, because we still got Bastion, and then Genji can still take a pretty hard off angle. And just, Reaper has to close the gap a little bit more. Winston and me are equal. We still both have Moira. I think Cass's range is just kind of not as good as like, non-turret primary Bastion. I don't quote me on that. That's just a thing I've believed, I suppose.
That's okay. But yeah, you fight in longer range. And what about the angles again? Who benefits out of that more?
I think us.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what you should be doing. You should be scouting first, looking at the compositions, and then scouting before the fight. Angles are ready. We can look to dive in later. Because of it, it's kind of, you can even break it down to this initial scout setup and then scout again. This is where you ask yourself angles. Are those ready? My team is ready, and then you dive in. It's engage. Initial scouting. It's about all getting this initial information about the compositions, about where they are, what are they doing, your composition too. So it can be quite important. I'm just gonna write this down for us. Yeah, initial scouting, and then doing the setup after. Okay, let's see. What do we do? So this is when you get information, and that's when you know, okay, what I'm gonna do is my setup. I need to take angles. I need to go somewhere so it's easier for us. Maybe not necessarily jumping from main. Maybe you might go all the way right. Yeah, you might just kind of set up this way. Take your time. Remember, you play for the long fight. Watch out if your team can contribute on you and should be good. I think this is still fine. Yeah, it just can be slightly better, so you don't have to waste your resources. Instead of it being like this rotation, you can even just go here and then jump this way, something like that. Well, it's all okay. You have most of your armor, kind of, so it's not bad. Yeah, you have your bubble. Your team is able to contribute. So you burst the capacity fast. This is more concerning jump. Be careful. You have to jump to the corner. This is better. And then can read of the sweeper. Sure. Okay. And now the same thing. You scout initially. And then you set up after. Scout again. See if you're ready. And engage after. Okay, we're...
So, since I'm Winston, would I poke more here? Like, would I try and fight someone before the fight started? Because I know with Sigma, it would be more beneficial for me to, like, get someone in my kill box when I notice after, like, scouting, kind of like on the first point. But first, I mean, just for Winston, would I kind of do a similar thing? I know it's a weird. I think I weirded that wrong.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Okay, as a Sigma, most of your resources are longer range oriented. You playing poke hero, so you poking at the start. It's okay with the Winston. Most of your resources are short range, so you shouldn't be exposed to unnecessary poke to that point where you have to trade your armor a lot. You have to trade your bubble a lot. So.
Okay.
You just need to make sure you can poke, but make sure you're not getting punished for it, because sometimes a lot of Winstons poke and then they're not able to engage. So in this case, just do not poke and waste your time in getting proper setup. I think against their composition, because they have more short range resources, you might poke a little bit more. If they have really longer range oriented, I don't think you poke at all. Maybe something like Hanzo, Surgeon, Widow, so they cannot headshot you before. Yeah, you're just investing time in getting in a close range, investing time in getting the proper position. That's why I think you not necessarily should be here too, by the way. You should be somewhere else, so you guys set up proper angles. All you guys are stacked. That's my problem. All of you guys are really at the same place. Well, you should be.
So that's what I was about to ask. I'm not sure. Should I go more toward, like the middle of this top platform? I'm not sure if I should maybe go on the low ground, kind of underneath that cave on the right, just poke from there and then jump. Because I end up jumping behind them after the Winston jumps. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but setting up here, I'm not sure.
What do you think about this position here?
Okay.
So you need to...
I think actually here I thought the Reaper was on the top left.
Okay, well,
because I heard his footsteps, but he just was coming through the hallway.
Well, if he's there, you can push him out as well. You guys really good at punishing isolated targets. You have a lot of mobility, so it can be okay. You just trying to set up those spaces around your kill zone. You're most likely gonna get kills around the point. It's more open. You have more poke potential with the Bastion. So that is where you need to set up. Make sure you have the ability to dive in. I think this is one of the best positions for you, probably. Yeah. What do you think?
Okay.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Or... Yeah. Can it be
Yeah.
anywhere else? Maybe.
I
But
thought
low
like
ground is harder, I
in the
think.
cave maybe, but
Mm,
mhm.
Might be. Yeah. It's just there are chances you can be forced out by those other characters like Reaper, maybe even Lucio. They, especially with the characters, if they don't have any vertical mobility, that is something you can abuse, yeah? Because you're trying to play the high ground, it takes time for those other characters. It takes their abilities away. Like Reaper, in order to chase you, if you're up somewhere on here, he will have to use teleport. Where here, he will have to just walk in if he is approaching from here, obviously, yeah? That's why we usually choosing between the high ground and low ground, usually choosing high ground.
Okay.
It's because, yeah, you trade more resources this way.
I get that one at least, especially on like Numbani and stuff.
Right. High ground's beneficial. So it can be you diving more unpredictably as well, because you hear they have to split the attention. Look at the Moira attention. Moira can see everybody on their team. I mean, on your team. She can send an orb towards you, damage orb, damage all you, and she sees everybody. She sees you jumping. If you hear, she will be able to pay attention to this or this. The attention is split. More chances for the Moira to be panicking, and not also panicking, but you can force out more resources. Angles are more important. Yeah, now it's kind of easier for her. But not only for her, it's just other characters too. So setting up your angles at the start. Okay, let's see what else we can notice. Okay.
I was mad as hell about that.
Well, happens. This is the part where again you can
I
start
didn't
thinking
have
about
bubble.
you can start well, yeah, that too. I'm just thinking, do you have to walk with your team? Do you have to exactly like be stacked with them? Not what do you think? Not really, yeah? Like
I don't think so.
Can be somewhere else. Yeah, it can be
Yeah,
anywhere else.
I should have scouted here. But the Bastion did walk through the hall, so I tried to wrap around on that way. Even though it was not intentional, but I thought that would be better for me, and that's why I went there. So I didn't understand that it was good, but I should have looked again to see where the Bastion, like my team went, because they ended up following me.
Exactly. Yeah, all you guys are stacked. That's what they benefit from. If they're playing stacked, they win versus you. You take angles, you win. Yeah, split their attention. Go here or start here. I think here is better because verticality. And then you can find a good dive after. Okay. I should get a rest. Well, here obviously you don't have bubble, so it's a middle of the points complicated. Okay. We'll have the primal. Same thing here, making sure we abusing the fact that you have mobility. Maybe you can even scout and then set up somewhere. Even in the cave can be possible if you jump across, but probably one of the best options for you. Starting here on the up left.
So just mostly with Winston, just try and stay high ground.
Usually, yeah, why not? It's beneficial. Well, there are a certain amount of times where you can do that, but yeah. This is
Didn't want my team to get dead-eye. I guess this is another case of just slow it down with holding.
You can, yeah, you can totally, just as a general habit, yeah. It's gonna be much more beneficial. Okay. Yeah, so this one, I think, for the most part, is just setup. Setup around the angles. Scouting, obviously, helps too. Do you have any specific questions, maybe?
That was last fight right there. And I don't know. I felt like we could have won this point. And especially at the end here, I don't know. Whenever I tried to do something, I got snuffed out. So I kind of get why the setup needs to be better and all that, so we can actually find the kills we need. But like even here, like you know, we killed the Winston with the Bastion, and I was like, all right, so Deadeye's coming. I can like stop this at least, and then I just don't know what happened. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're trying to stop the Deadeye. Do you have your angle
Should
set up on the Deadeye?
Yeah, we don't. Should I
Yeah.
just take in cover and waited it out?
Yeah. Again, you guys playing more patient calm, which needs to set up angles. So invest time in that, and then dive in when your angles are there. Yeah. Because now you dove this target. Yeah. This can be one of the cases where engagement is over. Yeah. You went after scouting, set up, and then engaging right away in that Winston. That is over. Recharge. Do same thing. Scout, set up, and engage after. Well, after the setup, you can scout again as well. But yeah, you just same pattern. Yeah, stabilize slightly after the engagement. You can slow it down. You don't have to engage right away. You can dodge this Deadeye, by the way, ultimately, because you guys again playing for a slower fight. You don't have to touch any at this moment. Invest this time in setting up. Go somewhere. Maybe deal with a Reaper, for example. Yeah. Why not? Deal with that Reaper. You have your angle set up on the Reaper. Yeah. Well, that's why. Deal with him. Once you have your angle set up here, dive the Deadeye. Yeah, it's just you kind of too fast. You're a little bit too like impatient. You need to invest more time into thinking. Okay, I'm setting up what I'm doing. Yeah. Now this Reaper pushes your team out completely. Actually.
Damn. Yo, he went hard.
Yeah. And this is the consequences of like not looking around as much.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah. No, I mean this is the opposite. You don't want to be too fast. You want to take it slower. Yeah. You really need to slow down his juggle, slow down with his that jump right there. Is it needed? Well, take your time. Be slow. Well, it might seem that you're losing a little bit of value, but it's fine. The more you do it, the more you're building this more, being more patient, the more value you're gonna get eventually. You're gonna build up the speed eventually. It's gonna be faster. You're gonna be faster with decisions, but start with being slower first, for sure. Okay. Oh, we still have some time left. We could look on Numbani if you like, or do you have any other questions?
Not at the moment. I think the slowing it down thing is probably gonna be pretty helpful, considering.
Sure.
I think that came from Overwatch 1 as well, where it was like the tanks were kind of like the playmakers, I suppose. Like they just fucking, at least on console.
I mean, they are. Yeah, they are, but it still should be done at the good time.
That's it feels harder in this game. I think.
Might be, yeah. Well, especially
at least for me. I mean, I can't say nothing to you. You're popping off.
Well, it's for some points it's harder. For some points it's easier. Yeah, it just depends. But yeah. Okay, we Numbani. Let's take a look. We starting out here. Most likely need to dive this high ground again. Make sure your angles are set up. That's the idea.
I did mention that I blow up here, and then me and the Tracer were the ones in VCs. She was like, "Oh, I'm set up now. We'll just we'll just do it this time."
So you missed the Tracer there. See who you're missing.
Yeah,
you're missing the sling there. Take your time.
Patience
is the key.
Oh man, Dude, I'm gonna get drilled for this one.
You dive in instantly, and you die. When your Tracer is able to pressure just in the 5 seconds after, right? I mean, this is good as a general habit. Whenever you're trying to implement something, just really slow it down. Yeah, like here, okay. Now you're taking your time. This is better. And suddenly you get a lot of value. Your bubble missed, but this is still better.
I was mad about that, but it worked out.
Yeah. and then you find this solo kill. You might get not a kill on the Anzo, maybe not. Okay, that's fine. Take it slow and recharge it after each engagement. And you do all of this cycle: scout, setup, and then scout again, engage, stabilize, and repeat. Yeah? So it's the fight starts: scout first, get initial information, set up for the next fight. You probably shouldn't be here, right? Because you need to get information. So where you should be.
Okay. So should I should move up like with the Sojourn?
Yeah.
Or wait, no,
exactly.
not Sojourn.
Yeah, the Tracer.
That's Tracer, right?
But
Okay, sorry.
yeah.
I saw the silhouette. It kind of looked like
Mhm.
when Sojourn jumps. So I was like,
Because
confusing.
we scouting, we get information what's happening in the field now. It's easier for you to respond. Maybe you can save somebody. Maybe you can relieve some pressure off your teammates. But yeah, you need to take advantage of mobility. You shouldn't be on card. Yeah, it's right away. I'm scouting, setting up for the next. Can scout for before the next engagement too. So it's just a little bit late at this point. Yeah, just. Now you have to reset. Yeah, you have to get out.
Don't even ask how I lived out of this.
Oh, well, this is good. This is good to live. Okay, same thing. Scout, see where's your team, where's the enemy, get general information, look to setup. This is kind of your setup in a way. It can be if you end up, or maybe just this corner can be the one. It might be that you use this high ground as a setup. It might go into the engagement right away. Yeah, but it's always just because you do those steps, you're slowing it down. You're not rushing it too much. Well, it went okay. Now you stabilize because you don't have bubble. Repeat the cycle. Yeah. Obviously, you have a little bit of advantage, so you can push up more aggressively. Yeah, but now the bubble.
Dude used everything. Man. I'm not gonna lie. How long that life we relived made me a little bit, tad bit angry. I was like, oh man,
Right. Okay. Well, focus isolated. I'm being patient. I'm in the back line. This is good. And you have your tracer set up too, which is nice. Your angles are there, so you get good value. It's a good example. Good timing. Target priority is there too. So same thing. You scout, get the information, set up for the next fight. That's where poking might be problematic. You playing against
the streams a little bit, or the connection's a little bit shoddy.
the what again?
The connection's a little bit.
Oh, you're talking about the stream quality, or?
Hang on.
Oh yeah, you was talking about the stream quality, right?
I think it's good.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. It was the connection. Sorry.
That's alright. Oh, let me actually check the server just in case. Overview. Oh, it should be okay. Yeah, it should be right.
Yeah, it's probably just a hiccup.
Alright. Well, this is exactly the point where poking might be a little bit risky because they have a lot of poke going on. So you don't want to be poking as much, rather invest the time. Yeah, like see if you can poke, obviously, but without wasting too many resources on your side. This is where you might think about where the next fight might be, set up for that one. So where do you think you should set up based on the this part of the map? Yeah, what do you think?
I feel like maybe around the corner, a little bit more of my team. The high ground maybe. Just but the high ground's a little bit risky because they can poke me kind of easily. And I can't poke them back.
Right. Yeah. So it's around the corner, yeah? Notice when the fight starts, once they walk into the angles, you need your bubble ready. Now it's kind of, they didn't walk yet. Well, there's a surgeon she's trying to.
We got lucky with the Sojin. I'm not gonna lie. I did the
Yeah.
wrong thing, but then the
Yeah.
Sojin just kind of.
Yeah, exactly. This something they should be cutting ideally, and then it should dive in right after. Well, they could maybe commit because there's Raz, but complicated. The bubble is pretty strong. Cooldown. I think you should be easily punished. That. Yeah, exactly. It ended up okay for you guys because they commit for some reason, but they shouldn't. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Again, very mad she didn't die.
Yeah, one, be careful.
But it's just, supports. I'm like in their spawn. It's not exactly her fault.
And be careful again. Like, can you get a solo kill, or can you angles get well? You might get a solo kill, but you have to be mindful. What's your escape route? And just jumping a little bit earlier. Probably as soon as you see the support.
Hello.
But yeah, Can you hear me? My connection is fine. It seems like I think everything's good.
Uh.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I think now.
Yeah. Is it working?
Oh boy, hang on.